Imagine a world where power still whispers through ancient halls, where kings sip water from skull-shaped cups, priests walk on burning embers to prove the unseen, and politicians follow rituals older than their nations. These traditions sound unbelievable, yet they're still practiced today. From royal customs that defy logic, to religious rites that test the limits of faith, to political ceremonies that feel straight out of a forgotten civilization. These 50 bizarre rituals reveal how deeply the past still controls the present. Ready to enter the strange? In Japan, the Daijosai coronation ritual forces a new emperor into a secret shrine where he communes with the sun goddess Amaterasu. Wrapped in ancient silk, he eats sacred rice alone in torchlight, symbolically dying as a mortal and awakening as a divine ruler. Even Japanese citizens are forbidden from witnessing it. The imperial household agency guards every detail, believing the emperor's whispered prayers influence the country's spiritual fortune for the coming era. In the United Kingdom, the monarchy still claims ownership of every unmarked mute swan on the River Thames. During the annual swan upping, royal boats glide across the water as officials in crimson uniforms count, inspect, and ceremonially mark the birds. What began in medieval times as food regulation now symbolizes royal guardianship over England's waterways. The spectacle blends pageantry, ecological duty, and quiet power, reminding citizens how deeply monarchy still breathes through British tradition. In Ethiopia's Timkat, priests carry the tabut, replicas of the Ark of the Covenant, wrapped in embroidered cloth believed to embody divine presence. Cities erupt with drum beats, incense clouds, and barefoot processions following the sacred object. At dawn, thousands plunge into blessed waters, symbolizing Christ's baptism, convinced their past sins vanish instantly. The ritual merges scripture, legend, and living memory, turning streets into a biblical river of devotion, where faith becomes visible and electric. In Bhutan, monks wearing enormous black hats and skull-themed masks perform the Black Hat Dance to purge entire regions of spiritual pollution. Deep horns echo through fortress courtyards as dancers represent wrathful deities battling demonic forces. Villagers watch in reverent silence, believing real divine protectors descend into the performers. The ritual ends with a symbolic decapitation of evil, followed by blessings meant to shield communities from unseen threats for the coming year. In Thailand's royal ploughing ceremony, Brahmin priests guide white oxen across a sacred field while the king observes from a dais under golden umbrellas. The oxen choose between grains, predicting rainfall, harvest quality, and national prosperity. Ancient Sanskrit chants echo around Bangkok's ceremonial grounds as farmers scramble to collect scattered seeds believed to hold supernatural fertility. This centuries-old rite merges cosmic prophecy, monarchy, and agriculture into a single moment of destiny. In Spain's small village of Castrillo de Murcia, men dressed as devils leap over rows of newborn babies during El Colacho. The ritual, blending Catholic symbolism with pagan echoes, is believed to cleanse infants of original sin and guard them from misfortune. Drums, whips, and a centuries-old brotherhood oversee the event. Despite its danger, locals trust it completely, claiming the Devil's Airborne Leap seals divine protection around the village's newest souls. In South Korea, families hold the midnight Yessa ritual to honor ancestors who are believed to return spiritually for one night. Tables are arranged with symbolic foods aligned by color, direction, and Confucian codes. No one eats until the ancestors finish, and silence fills the room like a second presence. Wine is poured in sweeping arcs, incense curls upward, and each action binds the living to centuries of lineage. Jessa keeps the dead woven into every family decision. In Scotland and the United Kingdom, monarchs sit upon the stone of destiny during coronations, a granite block believed to roar for the rightful ruler. Stolen by English forces, hidden by rebels, and ceremonially returned to Scotland, it carries centuries of myth and struggle. Clergy whisper medieval prayers as it's placed beneath the coronation throne. Its presence ties modern rulers to ancient Gaelic kings, blending rebellion, prophecy, and sovereignty into one stone. In India's Theyyam traditions of Kerala, ordinary men transform into living gods through hours of chanting, fire rituals, and heavy red costumes. Once possessed, they deliver oracles, settle disputes, and bless villagers with trembling intensity. Spectators believe deities genuinely descend into the dancer's body. The performers walk through fire, balance on platforms, and move with terrifying grace. The yam is not symbolic. It's considered literal divine incarnation, merging tribal roots, Dravidian legends, and raw spiritual electricity. In Indonesia's Toraja culture, families exhume preserved ancestors during Mainene, gently clean their bodies, dress them in fresh clothes, and walk them around the village. Children speak to long-departed grandparents. Elders update the dead on family events. Far from morbid, the ritual expresses loyalty and continuity, treating death as transformation rather than disappearance. For the Toraja, love extends past the grave, and the dead remain active members of the community through this extraordinary tradition. In Nigeria's Yoruba tradition of Egungun, masked performers embody ancestral spirits believed to revisit the living. Dressed in towering layers of colorful cloth that swirl like living wind, they move through villages, blessing, warning, and judging. Their voices are distorted, their gestures supernatural, and touching them is forbidden, believed to attract death. Communities treat each Egungun appearance as a direct visit from the ancestral realm, where the past steps into the present with power strong enough to reshape destiny. In Greece, the Orthodox ritual of the Holy Fire unfolds each Easter in Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Greek clergy claim divine flame appears spontaneously inside Christ's tomb. Pilgrims pack the ancient hall, trembling as blue-white fire erupts and spreads through thousands of candles within minutes. The flame is flown to Greece in guarded lanterns, welcomed by military honors, and carried to churches nationwide. The ritual mixes miracle, politics, faith, and centuries of geopolitical tension surrounding the sacred site.
In Mongolia's Nodam,
In Mongolia's Nadam, wrestlers smear sacred sheep fat on their limbs, archers whisper sky prayers, and horse riders as young as 5 race across vast steppes. The opening ceremony begins with a blessing of Genghis Khan's 9 white banners, symbols believed to hold Mongolia's warrior soul. Every event is spiritual, not merely athletic. Wrestlers mimic mythic birds, horses carry ancestral spirits, and victories are considered omens for the nation. Naadam preserves Mongolia's ancient identity through ritualized strength, speed, and shamanic tradition. In Philippines' San Pedro Cutud Lenten rites, devotees reenact Christ's crucifixion, some voluntarily nailed through palms and feet onto wooden crosses. Blood drips onto dusty ground as crowds chant prayers and drum rhythms intensify. Participants believe suffering cleanses sin, fulfills vows, or grants miracles. Though the church discourages it, villagers continue, claiming the ritual brings spiritual clarity. The spectacle blends Catholic devotion with pre-colonial notions of sacrifice, turning a small Pampanga town into one of the world's most controversial religious stages. In Denmark, the Royal Guard's Vagt Parade at Amalienborg Palace remains a rigid display of discipline rooted in 18th-century monarchic prestige. Drums echo through Copenhagen's cobblestone streets as guards march with slow, ceremonial steps, maintaining absolute stoicism regardless of weather, crowds, or distractions. Each uniform detail, from bearskin hats to polished rifles, follows rules older than the modern state. For Danes, the parade is more than spectacle. It is the monarchy's living heartbeat, preserved unchanged across wars, reforms, and shifting national identity. In Madagascar's Famadihana, families exhume ancestors, rewrap them in bright silk shrouds, and dance with their bodies around the village to joyous drum rhythms. The dead are spoken to, updated on family disputes, and invited to bless future marriages. Wine flows, children laugh, and music swells. Death becomes celebration. The ritual strengthens community bonds and reaffirms that ancestors guide the living. For Malagasy people, memory is physical, sacred, and shared. Love remains warm enough to lift the dead into dancing arms. In Turkey's Mevlevi Sema ceremony, whirling dervishes spin for nearly an hour, believed to enter a state where ego dissolves and divine presence fills the body. White robes flare like galaxies, reed flutes cry ancient melodies, and each rotation symbolizes cosmic order. The ritual honors poet-mystic Rumi, whose teachings guide dancers towards spiritual annihilation and rebirth. Though now UNESCO recognized, the ceremony began as a deeply private Sufi practice. Every turn merges discipline, devotion, and centuries of mystical longing. In Italy's ancient festival of La Befana, a witch-like figure rides through towns on January 6th, delivering gifts as crowds reenact a blend of Christian epiphany and pagan hearth rituals. Streets glow with torches, charcoal is handed out as symbolic purification, and processions honor a mythical crone who refused to follow the Magi. For Italians, Befana represents domestic guardianship, winter renewal, and maternal judgment. The festival reflects Italy's old-world fusion of folklore, Catholic tradition, and rural superstition, still alive today. In Nepal's Indra Yatra festival, masked Lakhi dancers crash through Kathmandu streets, roaring and chasing evil spirits away. A massive wooden chariot carries the living goddess Kumari, a prepubescent girl believed to embody divine power. Crowds bow as she silently blesses them with a single glance. Drums shake ancient palace walls, soldiers fire ceremonial rifles, and ancestral myths flood the city. Indra Yatra binds Hindu, Buddhist, and Nuari traditions into a single week where gods coexist physically with citizens. In China's Ghost Festival, families burn joss paper money, clothes, and even cardboard mansions to feed spirits wandering the human realm during the 7th lunar month. Empty seats are left at dinner tables, incense smokes in doorways, and opera performances entertain invisible guests. People avoid swimming or traveling at night, fearing ghostly mischief. The ritual blends Taoist, Buddhist, and folk beliefs, treating the dead as hungry, restless, and deeply connected to the living. Respect ensures harmony, neglect invites chaos. In Haiti's Vodou Fête Guédé, worshippers honor the dead by inviting the Guéda spirits, trickster guardians of cemeteries, to possess dancers. People wear purple and black, smear white powder on their faces, and drink spicy rum to wake the spirits. The possessed speak blunt truths, heal emotional wounds, and reveal hidden family matters. Drums pound in graveyards as offerings of coffee, peppers, and cigarettes are placed on tombs. The ritual mixes African spirituality, Catholic symbolism, and raw communal catharsis. In Mexico's Night of the Radishes in Oaxaca, artisans carve enormous radishes into haunting scenes of saints, skeletons, rebels, and ancient Zapotec gods. Crowds gather at dusk to witness the vegetable sculptures illuminated like surreal crimson sculptures. Farmers grow special oversized radishes specifically for the event. The ritual began as a colonial-era market trick, but evolved into a symbolic exploration of life, death, and resistance. The carvings wrought by morning, emphasizing impermanence and beauty in equal measure. In Papua New Guinea's Huli Wigman tradition, boys spend months in woodland isolation, learning to craft elaborate wigs from their own hair. Elders shape the wigs with ceremonial clay, feathers, and paint, transforming initiates into warriors who resemble birds of paradise. Each style encodes clan identity, spiritual lineage, and ancestral pride. The initiation ends with a fierce public dance where their new forms are revealed. For the Huli, the wig is not decoration, it is a living declaration of adulthood and strength. In Finland's midsummer Koko ritual, towering bonfires blaze beside lakes to repel evil spirits believed to roam during the longest day. Families gather around flames while folk songs echo across water, and traditional birch branches are used to brush away misfortune. Couples place flowers under pillows to dream of future partners. The fire, considered a living guardian, protects crops and households from darkness. Koko merges ancient Norse superstition, seasonal magic, and national identity into a luminous summer rite. In Serbia's Slava, each family honors its patron saint with a ritual feast passed down patrilineally for centuries. A candle representing ancestral fire burns all day, and a special bread, Slavski kolak, is cut in a cross pattern and turned slowly to welcome blessings. Priests bless the home with incense and holy water, while relatives offer wine and wheat dishes, symbolizing eternity. Slava fuses orthodoxy, folklore, and familial loyalty, turning every household into a tiny temple of heritage and memory. In Kuwait, the Gurdjian festival during Ramadan transforms neighborhoods into glowing streets filled with lanterns, embroidered bags, and children chanting ancient Gulf songs. Kids dress in traditional garments and knock on doors to collect sweets, echoing centuries-old pearl diver customs that celebrated survival and community. Families prepare special sesame treats and exchange blessings under moonlit courtyards. Gurdjian preserves pre-oil Bedouin culture, merging Islamic devotion with folkloric gratitude for prosperity, unity, and shared nighttime joy. In Romania's Calusari ritual, dancers believed to possess healing powers leap, stomp, and whirl to exorcise evil spirits during Pentecost. Wearing white costumes, red ribbons, and bells on their legs, they move in sharply synchronized patterns, said to imitate ancient horse spirits. Villagers call them to homes where illness, misfortune, or dark winds linger. The ritual's origins predate Christianity, connecting to Dacian shamanism. Calusari remains one of Europe's oldest surviving rites of protection and sacred masculinity. In Cambodia's royal plowing ceremony in Phnom Penh, high Brahmin priests dress sacred oxen in jeweled cloth and guide them across ceremonial fields before the king. After plowing, the oxen choose from trays of rice, water, grass, or wine, each interpreted as a prophecy for floods, famine, abundance, or political stability. Citizens treat the results as national destiny. Drums echo through palace grounds as ancient Khmer incantations merge with Hindu cosmology, intertwining royal authority and divine agricultural fate. In Brazil's Rio de Nazar, millions flood Belem's streets to escort a small statue of the Virgin of Nazareth on a massive river procession. Devotees crawl on their knees, hold ropes attached to the sacred float, and cry prayers of gratitude or pleas for healing. Boats decorated with flowers accompany the journey, turning the Amazon waters into a spiritual highway. The ritual merges Catholic devotion, indigenous river culture, and centuries-old promises, creating one of the world's largest acts of collective faith. In Sri Lanka's Esala Perahera, fire dancers, whip crackers, tusked elephants, and drummers parade through Kandy to honor the sacred tooth relic of the Buddha. The relic is believed to guarantee the nation's destiny, and monks carry it in a golden casket while crowds chant ancient Pali verses. Elephants wear embroidered capes lit by torch fire, creating a dreamlike river of flames through the night. The ritual fuses monarchy, Buddhism, and cosmic protection into one breathtaking procession. In Sweden's St. Lucia Day, a girl chosen as Lucia wears a white gown and a crown of burning candles, leading a procession that symbolizes the return of light during the darkest winter nights. Choirs sing ancient Nordic hymns while children carry star-shaped lanterns. The ritual blends Christian sainthood with pre-Christian solstice worship, honoring Lucia as both martyr and sunbringer. Homes and hospitals receive her visit, believed to bring protection from winter misfortune and spiritual darkness. In Poland's Wianki festival on the Vistula River, women craft wreaths of wildflowers, herbs, and hidden messages before releasing them into the water. Men watch from the banks, believing whichever wreath reaches them foretells romantic destiny. Fireworks echo over ancient riverbanks linked to pagan Slavic rituals celebrating fertility and midsummer magic. Musicians play folk melodies as floating candles drift through the night. The tradition mixes pre-Christian divination, love prophecy, and national folklore into one luminous river ceremony. In Japan's naked festival, Hadaka Matsuri, thousands of nearly naked men wearing only loincloths struggle through crowds at freezing temperature to grab sacred wooden talismans thrown by priests. Whoever secures one is believed to gain a year of extraordinary luck. Participants purify themselves with icy water, chanting as they push through chaotic waves of bodies. The ritual symbolizes renewal, courage, and spiritual cleansing, drawing from Shinto beliefs that hardship purges misfortune and awakens divine favor. In Tonga's royal kava ceremony, chiefs and nobles gather in a sacred circle to prepare kava, made from ground pepper roots in a carved wooden bowl. The drink is mixed rhythmically by designated attendants, while traditional chants invoke ancestral spirits. The first cup is always served to the king, symbolizing authority flowing through lineage. Every gesture follows strict Polynesian protocol. The ceremony binds the monarchy, clans, and spiritual world into a single moment of respect, hierarchy, and shared identity. In Armenia's Vardavar, people drench each other with water in a festival rooted in pagan worship of the goddess Astghik, later absorbed into Christianity. Streets fill with laughter, buckets, and sudden splashes as even strangers soak one another. The ritual symbolizes purification, fertility, and renewal. In villages, rose petals are scattered in homage to Astghik, the goddess of love. Vardavar turns the entire nation into a watery battlefield of joy, preserving one of Armenia's oldest living traditions. In Myanmar's Taung Bion, at festival, thousands gather to honor powerful spirits called nats, believed to influence luck, love, and destiny. Mediums dressed in vibrant silk enter trances, allowing gnats to possess their bodies and deliver blessings or blunt warnings. Offerings of bananas, alcohol, and money fill the shrine as music grows frantic. Despite Buddhist norms discouraging spirit worship, the festival thrives, merging ancient animism with modern devotion in a week-long celebration of supernatural negotiation. In Germany's Krampusnacht, villagers believe horned demonic Krampus roams streets on December 5th, punishing misbehaving children while St. Nicholas rewards the good. Men dressed in terrifying wooden masks, fur suits, and rattling chains parade through towns, chasing spectators with symbolic switches. Fires blaze in market squares as alpine folklore comes alive. The ritual predates Christianity and preserves fear-based winter discipline. Krampusnacht blends pagan darkness, Catholic morality, and theatrical chaos into one chilling annual tradition. In Kenya's Masai Unoto ceremony, young warriors known as Morans transition into adulthood through a week-long ritual involving ochre body paint, lion skin cloaks, and ancestral chants. Elders shave their long warrior braids, symbolizing humility and rebirth. Communities gather around sacred milk offerings and rhythmic dances celebrating courage and unity. Unoto cements social identity, forging lifelong bonds as Morans become full-fledged protectors and future leaders. The ritual preserves Maasai values of strength, honor, and cultural continuity. In Laos's Baonbong, Fa, villagers launch massive homemade bamboo rockets into the sky to summon rainfall from divine serpent spirits called Nagas. Colorful parades, drunken dancing, and competitive rocket building take over entire towns. When rockets explode in clouds, people cheer, believing the sky gods are stirred awake. The tradition fuses animism, agriculture, and Buddhist symbolism, marking the start of the planting season. Its booming rockets are petitions to heaven written in fire, smoke, and faith. In Israel's Lag BaOmer celebrations, children and families ignite huge bonfires, commemorating ancient Jewish mysticism, the end of a plague, and the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Songs echo through neighborhoods as sparks rise into desert air. Boys practice archery, symbolizing historical rebellion against Roman rule. Pilgrims travel to Mount Meron to dance through the night in ecstatic circles. Lag BaOmer merges spiritual liberation, communal memory, and fiery symbolism into one glowing night of ancestral energy. In Australia's Tiwi Pukamani burial ceremony, families carve towering ironwood poles, Pukumani poles, painted with clan symbols and ancestral patterns. Weeks of song cycles, grief dances, and ritual gift-giving prepare the spirit for its journey to the afterworld. Elders chant creation stories as dancers swirl ochre dust into the air. When the poles are erected, they become spiritual beacons guiding the dead safely away. The ceremony preserves Tiwi cosmology, where art, mourning, and ancestral law fuse into sacred continuity. In Peru's Coalur Riti pilgrimage, thousands climb freezing Andean mountains to honor a miraculous image of Christ said to appear on a glacier. Indigenous dancers dressed as bears, devils, and mythical beings accompany the trek, blending Catholic faith with Inca sky worship. Pilgrims believe starlight and icy winds cleanse their destinies. At dawn, dancers perform frantic steps to summon cosmic blessings. The ritual marks a fragile union between ancient glacier spirits, Christian devotion, and the harsh celestial power of the Andes. In France's Fête des Fous, revived in select towns, locals reenact the medieval Feast of Fools, once condemned by the church for its chaotic reversal of authority. A mock bishop presides, peasants become nobles, and absurd costumes flood the streets. Bells, drums, and satirical chants mock the seriousness of religious hierarchy. Though toned down today, the festival preserves France's rebellious medieval spirit, where laughter became protest and ritual inverted the social order to release collective tension buried beneath centuries of discipline. In Russia's Maslenitsa, the week before Lent becomes a fiery farewell to winter. Villagers build straw effigies of Lady Maslenitsa, parading her through snowy streets before burning her at dusk. Pancakes, symbolizing the returning sun, are eaten endlessly, while traditional fistfights, sleigh rides, and bear dances revive Slavic pagan customs. The burning effigy releases winter's trapped energy, inviting warmth and renewal. Maslenitsa preserves ancient dualities, fire and frost, death and rebirth, fasting and feasting, still alive in Russian cultural memory. In Switzerland's Chalandamars, boys in traditional blue coats march through alpine villages, ringing enormous cowbells to chase away winter spirits. Whips crack, wooden masks grin, and rhythmic songs echo between stone houses. The noise is believed to awaken spring forces sleeping beneath frozen hills. Children lead the ritual, symbolizing innocence guiding seasonal renewal. Chalandamars blends Roman-era purification customs with Swiss pastoral heritage, transforming remote mountain towns into vibrant stages where sound becomes spiritual cleansing for the land. In Iran's Ashura commemorations, millions reenact the martyrdom of Imam Hussein through dramatic passion plays called taziyeh. Men dressed in green and red act out battlefield scenes while spectators weep openly, beating their chests in synchronized mourning. Streets fill with free food offerings symbolizing divine mercy. The ritual embodies sacrifice, justice, and resistance against tyranny. Ashura merges grief, theater, and spiritual identity into a powerful collective remembrance that shapes Iranian cultural and religious consciousness every year. In Morocco's ceremony of the Gnawa, musicians enter trance-inducing rhythms using metal castanets and three-stringed gwembri to summon ancestral spirits called mlouk. Participants sway as incense thickens the air, and healers guide individuals seeking release from emotional or spiritual burdens. The ritual blends Sufi Islam with sub-Saharan animist heritage, creating a hypnotic night of possession, healing, and ancestral negotiation. Each rhythm corresponds to a specific spirit, forming a musical ladder between human suffering and divine intervention. In Vietnam's Kitchen Gods Festival, families send 3 celestial guardians, Tao Quan, to heaven by burning effigies and releasing carp fish believed to carry their spirits upward. Homes are scrubbed spotless so the gods report favorably to the Jade Emperor. Offerings of rice wine, honey, and paper clothing accompany prayers for luck. The ritual merges Taoist cosmology with Vietnamese household devotion, turning kitchen hearths into spiritual gateways. Families believe the gods' celestial report determines the fortune of the coming year. In Mongolia's Sagan Sar, families greet the Lunar New Year with a ritualized sequence of respectful gestures, milk sprinkling, and ancestral honors. Elders sit at the top of the yurt while younger members perform zolgoch, touching arms and exchanging blessings. A tower of layered dairy dishes symbolizes purity and abundance. Families ride horseback across frozen steppes to visit relatives, believing reconciliation ensures good fortune. Sagan Sar preserves nomadic identity, hospitality, and cosmic cleanliness at the heart of Mongolian life. In Uganda's Imbalu circumcision ritual of the Bagisu people, teenage boys undergo public initiation, accompanied by drums, horns, and ancestral summons. Before the ceremony, they sprint through villages, proving bravery, while relatives smear them with white clay symbolizing purity. During circumcision, they must not flinch. Any movement shames the clan. The ritual transforms boys into men, binding them to tribal identity, land, and lineage. Imbalu reflects courage, communal pride, and the spiritual threshold between childhood and adulthood.